Um, Good evening, everyone. Can we please move to the front, those who are at the back, so that we can start on time? So if you don't have the documents that we're going to use for this meeting, please can you access it? The QR code is up. But I guess that most people would have received the documents by now. But if you have not, please, the QR code is up here. May I also request the members of the executive committee of the IEA to please come forward. Enrique. Chandrakant, please. Okay, so we'll just start. Okay, so good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to the Congress of the International Epidemiology Association. I'm Akindele Adebi. I'm the president of the International Epidemiology Association. But before we start, I want to recognize a few people who have done, have put in a lot of years into the service of the International Epidemiology Association. And I'm really very thrilled to see them right here today. Miguel Porter. Okay, so can I request you to come forward, sir? Neil Pierce, a former president, and still very active. Mauricio Barreto, I think is some.
He's on another session.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so I could also see Professor Abdul Karim, Enrique, our immediate past president. Yeah, Professor Abdul Karim is also, please, I'm not sure whether all of us would know him. He was the regional councillor for Africa. Enrique Barros, the immediate past president of the International Epidemiology Association. Eduardo Franco, a former regional councillor. These are all people that have contributed a lot to the progress of the IEA. Eduardo is the incoming president-elect of the association. And I'd like to just recognize all of them and appreciate all the good roles that they have played in making sure that the IEA, has moved forward. So we start, this is the agenda for this meeting. Most of you would have received this agenda. And just before we start, we would like to ask that somebody propose that we adopt this agenda for the meeting. Do we have anybody who wants to propose that we adopt this agenda, or is there something you'd like us to change? Yes, Nip. Okay. Can we have another microphone, please? Okay.
So I think me and Alistair Wood would propose you adopt this agenda and proceed with the meeting. Thanks.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. Okay. Secretary, please take note of that. Okay. So, do we have any apologies for any officer's absence for this meeting? Any apologies? Karina, do we have any apologies received? Okay. So, I think the next thing that we'll have on the agenda, just before that, I want to thank everybody for coming in for this meeting. Though it's a bit late, it's at 6 past the hour of 6. And I'm sure that we should all be resting by now from the rigorous activities of the day, but I really want to appreciate all of us for making ourselves available for this meeting. And I want to say that it's really been a very good meeting, a very good conference, and we do appreciate all of you for making yourself available. What we have next on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the last meeting that was done in 2021. That is, it was a virtual meeting, it was a virtual congress. This is the first time that we are having a face-to-face congress after the 2017 congress that we had in Japan. Do we have the minutes? Do we have the minutes? Can we project the minutes? Okay, so if we don't have the minutes, I'm sure that all of us have the minutes in our email boxes. It's been sent. And we can just have a look at it. And go through it page by page and see if we have any amendments to the meeting, to the minutes of the last meeting. Okay. So can we look at the first page of the meeting, of the minutes of the meeting? Do we have any amendments to the first page? Anybody who has any amendment to the first page, please let's just say. If we don't have, we'll move to the second page. Any amendments to the first page? Okay, so we move to the second page. Do we have any amendments at all to the second page of the minutes of the last meeting? Item 11. Okay. At that time, it was said that I think a presentation was made that we would have a World Congress of Epidemiology in Goa, and it will be hosted by the Epidemiology Foundation of India. That was correct. Oh, okay. Okay. Secretary, please note that. Any other amendment to the second page? Okay. So if there are no other amendments, I think what Eduardo has said is noted, and the secretary will note that. Can someone please propose that we adopt these minutes? Yes, Eduardo. Please, can we have one microphone in front so that members can talk? Okay, thank you. So let's propose for the adoption of the minutes.
I move to adopt the minutes as commented, as
As
revised.
amended. Okay, thank you very much, Secretary. Anybody seconding it? Okay,
Oh, yes.
Enrique is seconding it. Thank you.
If we decide to follow the amendment on the item 11, we need to correct also the 12 accordingly, because the 12 mentioned that the rotation would start in 2027 with Africa, which actually happened right now in 2024. So just
Okay.
to make the amendment in the two items, otherwise they will be unbalanced.
Okay. Good. Okay, Secretary, please take note of the amendment. Okay, so we would open, now that the minutes have been adopted, we'll go on to the matters arising from the minutes. I've highlighted a few things here. First of all, if you go to 3F, Miguel Porter was thanked for leading the efforts to update the Dictionary of Epidemiology. It was supposed to be published in 2023, but I think it's ongoing, and Miguel actually had a session today which extended also submission till next week. And so if we still have any submission on an update to the Dictionary of Epidemiology, we are free to submit that till next week. By next week, everything will be finalized, and then hopefully early next year, we should have the 7th edition ready. So we want to thank Miguel for the good work in making that happen. On 7, the item number 7 on the minutes of the meeting, amendment of the Constitution that was proposed. This has taken effect. Members are now required to, if you are going for an elective post in the IEA, you need to have been paid up for at least 1 year before you can, vie for any post at all within the IEA. That has taken off, so the constitutional requirement has been satisfied.
And also to vote.
And also to, okay.
To be elected and to elect, in order to avoid that an influx of new members just to vote, like just before an election. So just to be a candidate, you need to be at least for 1 year, and to be able to also vote for a candidate, you need to be member for at least 1 year.
Okay. Thank you very much, Karina, for that addition. We move on to item number 10, 10C and D. there was a recommendation that IEA make public recommendations on the management of COVID based on the consolidation of members' work. IEA went on to make a technical consensus statement on vaccination of children, and that was published in the IJE. I think that received a lot of, positive comments. And thereafter, I think the WHO thereafter came up with a comprehensive statement on the vaccination of children with the COVID vaccine, which further, projected the image of IEA as leading in, in making technical statements on issues that are related to epidemiology. Item number 12. The alphabetical regional rotation for the future World Congress beginning in 2027. Goa was to host us in 2024, that is this year, and then it was to be the turn of the African region in 2027. Unfortunately, India was not able to go ahead with hosting us due to some logistic reasons and the fact that the Vinod sorry, I can't pronounce that name very well, who was the secretary of the IEA at the time and was the major force behind India electing to host in 2024, unfortunately died, and India had to decline, and we had to come to South Africa at very short notice. And we do appreciate that Professor Orlando Meyer and his team, accepted to host us in 2024. And we could see that they've done a very good job. We want to thank them very well. So with that, the regional rotation that IEA was to start in 2027 has actually started in 2024. In 2027, it's going to be the turn of Latin America, and then after that will be the turn of Europe. I think those are all the issues that are arising from the minutes. I'm not sure if there is any other thing. Am I missing out any other thing? Okay, good. So is there any other thing that we feel is arising from the minutes? From our point of view, those are the issues that we have to give you a feedback on from the minutes of the business meeting on 2nd September 2021. Okay. So, having exhausted what the matters arising from the minutes of the business meeting, we'll now move on to the report of the president. And what we're going to do is that if you look at what we sent to you, for the very first time, we've compressed all the reports together so that we'll have enough time to be able to have discussions amongst ourselves. So I'm just going to give us a brief summary of the report, and then the secretary will talk to the issue of membership, which is very, very important. Unfortunately, the treasurer was not able to come, but we've also captured the financial report within the PDF that was sent to you. But we'll take any matters arising from the financial report and we'll have a discussion around it. But we won't take each report and have questions and discussions around it one by one. Once I give you a summary, and the secretary also comes up and talks about the membership, and then we'll talk about the treasurer's report, and we ask Alistair Woodward to talk about the editor's report. Then we'll take comments thereafter together. We'll adopt, somebody will propose that we adopt it for discussion, and then we'll take questions and discussions thereafter. Is that a good way that you think we can go? Good. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would now move on to the President's report, which you can open it to it on your phones, or your mobile sets. It's been sent. So I'd like to start, first of all, in appreciating all our elders who are here, those who have served the association in one way or the other. And I also like to also bid all of us a warm South African welcome, and say that though we are happy that we are here, we are able to host the meeting, the first meeting after the COVID-19 that is physical. But I'm speaking to you right now with mixed feelings. Sadness over the unfortunate loss of the IEA president, Chandra Padley, in 2023. He should actually be speaking to you right now. I had to take his position because of his demise. And also, also deeply sad that we also lost a former president of the IEA who was president in 2014, 2017, Valerie Beral. She died shortly before Chandra's death, and we were really very sad about that. I want us to observe a minute of silence to honor the memory of these two great people who had served the association very well. May their souls rest in perfect peace. I want to talk a little bit about Professor Chandra, who was our president. He was very, very passionate about the IEA, and all his efforts were to steer the association towards digitalization of our operations. In fact, one of his key points was the need for us to review the database of the IEA, and also for us to use modern management practices to reposition the association to have better functionality as well as utility. But with his loss, I had to vacate my position as president-elect and take over as acting president of the IEA. And this was done through a vote by the council. His loss created a great vacuum for us. And it would have been impossible for the executive committee to function based on the constitutional requirements of a prescribed minimum of officers for our meetings. But we had to ask the regional councillor for Southeast Asia, Dr. Lahira Chandrakant, to come onto the executive committee of the IEA so that we could fulfill the constitutional requirements. I want to thank him very much for deciding to take on a double role, both as regional councillor of Southeast Asia and also to serve on the executive committee. I must also deeply appreciate the support of the executive committee as well as the executive council in these few months that we had worked together after the demise of Chandra. They've been very, very supportive. They've gone over beyond the call of duty to make sure that that there was no gap that was created in the IEA. We had many key achievements, and we were also able to sustain the credibility of the International Journal of Epidemiology, and I want to thank very much the editors of the International Journal of Epidemiology, Stephen Leader, as well as Alistair Woodward, who came in as co-editor to provide much more technical expertise. And I must say that it's been very, very humbling working with Alistair. He brought on, a whole wealth of experience, and which changed the IJE in terms of we had always wanted the IJE to be responsive to the needs of the International Epidemiology Association, and working together with Stephen, they brought on some reforms, which included that the editorial board now had, some form of gender balance, and also they made concerted efforts to bring in, experts from low, medium income countries, and also to make sure that there is a plan for mentorship, continuity, as well as to continue to maintain the credibility of the IEA. Once again, I want to thank you so much. I want to say that because of the post-COVID effect, there was apathy towards the activities of the IEA in the period under reference, 2021 to 2024. And this apathy was even noted when we tried to have the elections of the IEA. But I must thank all those who volunteered to vie for one position or the other in the IEA, despite the apathy that we noted amongst members. This apathy also translated to our members failing to renew their membership, and the council had to take a critical decision on that, which Karina, our secretary, is going to speak to during our talk about membership. I must say that our membership reduced from 1,650 something in 2021 to 1,300 currently. And that's a lot of drop, and we should begin to think of what we need to do. We continue to have a good financial health. The association's pulse is robust, and this was also due to the fact that the IJE continue to remain profitable, and also due to the fact that the council also made some careful investments in the in the money market, which yielded some funds for the IEA. But I must say that at the IEA, in moving forward, we'll have to rethink our sustainability, our financial sustainability, as well as resource mobilization plans, in moving forward, despite the fact that we are financially stable now, but we need to think about the time that IJE may not be as financially rewarding and I think that Alistair is going to speak a little bit to some of the challenges in the publication industry that may affect the profitability of the IJE a little bit. I think by and large, I must say that the regions have done quite well despite the apathy. Many webinars were held, and Karina is also going to speak to some of the activities that the regions have had that has made the members to be really engaged with the association. Regarding our affiliation with the WHO, we renewed our affiliation with the WHO. So we signed on to an action plan and a work plan. And many of the regional councillors have started attending meetings of the WHO at the regional level. Notably, the Pacific region, the Southeast Asia region, some other affiliations of the International Epidemiology Association will also include that of the African CDC that the African region have started enjoying, which were all part of the efforts of the current council. Regarding the affiliation with WHO, the IEA was also represented as a non-state actor during the crafting of the pandemic treaty, and IEA contributed quite a lot to data governance as an issue on the pandemic treaty, which we hope would come into being very soon because it's being negotiated under the auspices of the WHO. It's our hope that this will bring a vista of global collaboration and solidarity for pandemic response and equity of purpose. And we're looking forward to see this signed very quickly and domesticated at the country levels. During this period also, the IEA as a carryover from during the leadership of Enrique, we started looking at the strategic plan for the IEA, which was supposed to be a 10-year strategic plan. We've not done really much about that, but we hope that the incoming executive will work on this strategic plan. The plan is to have a 10-year strategic plan, which all of you are going to contribute to, and in 5 years we'll have a midterm review of this strategic plan once it's put into place. I will now yield the floor to the secretary to talk a little bit about the membership, and I hope that you will look in your own spare time, you look at the report that is sent to you in detail so that you can understand what progress the association has made within the time period 2021 to 2024, and also appreciate some of the challenges that we may need to face and solve collectively as an association in moving forward. Thank you very much for your attention. I'll now call on Karina Barriga to go on and talk about the membership and the few challenges that we have regarding that.
Thank you. Well, hello everyone. Good evening. So as Akin mentioned, we had a drop on membership. Uh, in the report you receive it, you see the difference between 2021 and 2024. And actually, when you talk to people from different scientific societies, um, I have seen many of them reporting that there's always an increase in membership again when it gets close to the Congress. So societies that they do annual Congress, that they don't suffer too much in the drop rates of like membership. But for societies that they have meetings that are not annual, many of them suffer with the same thing. We have decided in our meeting, in the council meeting we had on Monday, to change a little bit the policy in terms of the renewal of membership. Until now, a member who lapsed the membership to enroll again needs to pay the back dues, and this makes, like any society works like that. So right now, if someone like missed 2 or 3 years and wants to go back to IEA, it would just pay as it was a new member. So in this way, we try to attract the members back. The other thing that we want to make as a way to recover the members and to increase the membership is like to offer a little bit more of the regional events, even if they are like online training programs, things like that. And also the two major things that we have like advantages of being a member are the access to IGE and the discounted rates for members in the World Congress of Epidemiology. And because of like many universities, many governments like offer access to IGE through other mechanisms that makes that many members that not necessarily they need their access to IGE through IEA to access IGE. We need to offer something more. We start to talk with Alistair and Oxford to see, for example, if we offer a discounted rate for the open access when you are an author submitting to IGE, that the author who is a member get a discount if this group chooses the open access and needs to pay a fee. The fee will be lower for authors that are IEA members. Like this way we're strengthening that the IGE is the official journal of IEA. What else? So these are the major things. And also, one thing that calls my attention particularly in the region where I come from, I'm from Brazil, Latin America, I've seen dozens of Brazilians here that are not IEA members. And they are all members of Abrasco, the Brazilian Society of Collective Health, that has a joint membership with IEA. So I think that one work that the council, the executive council, and the president needs to make is to spread the word about the joint membership that was created actually to as an incentive to make it easier instead of paying 2 different fees for different associations. If there is a joint membership, you actually pay less to be a member of both associations. But I just realized here that I just found out that many persons, they are not aware that they can do this. So we need more advertisement about the joint membership. So regarding membership, these are the things I have to report. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the activities. So because of we were and middle of COVID and this transition, so mostly of the events were online events promoted by the regions, although we have a few in-person events. So just to highlight some stuff that is you can see in the report. So IEA plus the Japan Epidemiological Association hosted a joint Zoom seminar how to handle missing data. The Western Pacific region hosted an online symposium on epidemiology and climate change. IEA partnered with the World Psychiatric Association on a series of mental health and epidemiology webinars. The Latin America region hosted an EPI session in a meeting that was dedicated mostly to the COVID response. This was an in-person meeting in São Paulo called Advanced Science Methods for Epidemic Preparedness. Europe hosted 2 webinars jointly with Sphere Network for early career epidemiologists. And I like to highlight, I don't know if she's here, Moline, but the early career epidemiologists have a wonderful initiative of promoting a webinar with Professor Willie McFarland from the University of California in San Francisco about writing a paper and getting it published. And it was a success. They have initially more than 600 people that were enrolled to the webinar. Of course, we know about online stuff that many persons that they sometimes they make the inscription, but they don't. But they have almost 200 people attending the webinar, and they are preparing in the early career group a series of seminars following the this first one about writing a paper and getting it published. And North America also hosted a webinar on epidemiology and public health perspectives after the COVID-19 pandemic. And I don't know if it's here, but I remember of the Professor Nancy Krieger also event about social inequalities, women's empowerment, and relationship with epidemiology. So I guess that's what we have for membership and activities. And I give the word back to the president. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karina. So I want us to, like I said, the treasurer was unable to come, but I want us to turn to page 5 of the report. You'll see right there the financial report for financial year 2023. And then you also see on the next page the financial trends. Just to say that IEA improved from 860,000 US dollars to about 2 million, over $2 million now in assets and liabilities. But like I said, majority of the income actually comes from the IJE, and membership only gives us about $11,257. The investment income, 31,450, and then we had the unrealized gain on investment, that is the appreciation of the investment that were made in the money market. So that also had appreciated a lot. So I think that is the lot that we can have on the financial report. If there are specific questions later on, we would attend to it. But it's, I remember during the time of Sister Victoria that we had to overspend a little bit in IEA because the Congress decided at that time that as a professional organization, we should do more activities and not keep too much money in the bank account, that it reflects on the activity level if we keep too much money in the bank account. But what we have done actually is to invest this money rather than keeping it in the checking account in the money market, which has also brought back some funds to the IE. And the operations and regional allocations we've now been GAP. For those of us who are familiar with GAP, since the International Epidemiological Association is registered in Maryland, the USA, we are also bound to obey some of the financial rules and regulations, like budgeting, following strict laws regarding the use of funds, and so on and so forth. And I'm happy to let us know that we are GAP compliant, and we've not received any complaint whatsoever regarding the operation of the financial, the financial account of the association. So without much ado, I want to call on the editor to, okay.
Just make a comment that when you hear money market, maybe you can be worried. Just to know that we have a very serious, like advisor, and to get the option with like the lower risk option in terms of like there is a insurance, everything. So basically only if the US government and banking like our fail, we will lose money. There's no way we will lose money, in simple words. So we were so afraid when they present this to us for the first time, but we examine all the options, and what we are calling money market is a very low risk operation in terms of only not losing the value of money, leaving this money in a regular bank account without any interest, but just to be sure that it's very safe. And also to say that actually this financial result is just mostly because of the COVID, because the regional councilors have not used their money for in-person regional activities and other things that we support, that you have to pay for travel, accommodation for speakers, and sometimes you have to pay for the venue, etc. Because of we use Zoom and several speakers, like without having to pay for trips, etc. That's why we kind of like, if you look at the expenses, they were very low in the 3 years. Now with the Congress, they increase it because of in-person meeting and the Congress itself. But as Akin said, I remember very well this meeting when they told Cesar that it was not good to have a lot of money, and I agree. And I hope that after everything with COVID, and if no other pandemics affect us and put us on a lockdown, that we will reassume more in-person activities, and then this will be more balanced.
Okay, thank you for that addition. I just want to reassure us that we received, can I plead that we note our questions and comments down? Once we take the editor's report, then we'll take all the comments and the questions together, if that is agreeable with us. Is that agreeable with us? Okay, thank you very much. So we took, like she said, we took advice, which was expert advice, and the money market is a very low risk, investment that is guaranteed by the government of the United States. Okay, so Alistair, please.
Well, thank you very much. This is my first AGM at which I've appeared as the editor of the IJE. I'm co-editor in chief with Stephen Leader, and I've been in that position for 18 months. Now, I know that many of you in the room have contributed to the journal over the last 18 months and probably longer, as members of the editorial board, as reviewers, as authors, and I'd just like to say thank you very much. I mean, the journal is a big operation, and it involves the labor of hundreds and hundreds of people. In terms of the state of the journal, I would describe it as steady. We have about 1,500 submissions a year. That's, with the exception of the COVID period, that's been the record recently. We accept about 10 to 12% of those submissions for publication. Again, with the exception of what happened during COVID, that's remained pretty much constant. The processing time has improved considerably over the last 5 years, and we have a good relationship with our publisher, Oxford University Press. That's pretty stable and works well. The publishing environment is another matter. It's extremely volatile, with a large number of changes underway that present both challenges and opportunities, as Arkin sort of alluded to. So I might just mention a couple of those that are particularly important for us. One is the shift to online publishing. So that's happened this year. There are no more of those yellow-bound paper volumes appearing in people's letterboxes. People have mixed views about that, I guess, but that's been the trend generally in the scientific press, and IJAE has followed suit. The proportion of articles that are open access is rising, and that's partly a requirement of funding bodies which say you must make your publications open access. They made up about 30% of the journal income, I think, Arkin, in last year. We are affected by geopolitics, so the proportion of submissions from China has risen sharply. About 40% of the papers we received last year came from China. That's obviously an enormous change. Now, a good example of the volatility is the impact factor, which Arkin asked me to comment on. Over the last 5 years, the impact factor for IJE has varied between 6.5 and almost 10. And there are two reasons for that. One is the extraordinary circumstances during COVID, when people were, I reckon, were sitting at home and had nothing to do except to write papers. We got huge numbers of papers, many of them extraordinarily bad, and the acceptance rate fell to about 5%, I think. But the citation factor soared as a consequence of all that activity and people referring to each other's work. The other change that has been important and has caused our factor to dip is that the process for counting the impact factor has changed. And in particular, our publisher has signed an agreement with Clarivate, which means that the denominator, the impact factor, consists of the number of citations over the number of citable items. And the definition of a citable item has changed from one that things were counted from the point at which they were published in an issue to being counted from the moment that they appeared online. So I'm not sure, it's sort of an interesting epidemiological issue, isn't it? The time at risk has changed. And so we had similar number of citations year by year, but the number of citable items has soared. And so as a consequence, the impact factor has come down. So I would just recommend that if you think it's still a useful measure, that something like the 5-year factor, the 5-year impact factor, which in our case is 7.7, is the one that you should cite. In terms of innovations, if I could just point to a few things, again, I can mention them. We have been quite deliberate in terms of trying to make the editorial board, which consists of about 50 people who help us on the journal, more diverse. We were, in 2016, there were only about 18% of the editorial board who were women. We have increased that. We're still short of 50-50, but certainly we've got a better representation of women on the board, getting up towards 40%. We also very deliberately have tried to increase the regional spread of members of that board, and it's not perfect at all, and we're particularly conscious of the fact that Africa and Latin America are underrepresented, and so I've been working with people on the council to think of strategies to boost representation. We're running a mentoring trial to bring on ECEs as editors by linking them with experienced editors and following a process of training over the course of a year where they gradually take on more responsibility, and then we make a decision at the end of the year whether they continue or not, depending on what they want to do and how they're managing it. The Education Corner is something that I'm very proud of. I know that was introduced previously, and Neil Pearce was very much involved in it when George Davies-Smith was the editor-in-chief. We think it's a great feature of the journal. It's certainly very widely used, and we're putting more effort into developing that aspect of the journal. Just a couple of changes in the background that are coming up that are in the sort of challenge but possibly opportunity category. One is that the IJE is a hybrid journal, so the income for the IJE comes partly from subscriptions and partly from author payment charges, or author article charges. There is a push for us to think about making it entirely open access, which has got pluses and minuses, and we need to think about that. It's in the environment of the increasing use of read and publish agreements. It's a bit arcane, but it's the publisher signs up with universities and other institutions for them to buy essentially a subscription plus deal, which would mean that authors not only have access to the journal in terms of reading it, but also are exempt from author publication charges so that they can participate in open access. The final thing that I just want to alert you to is that there's some irony in the fact that the IJE has always attempted to put as much of its content as possible in front of the paywall, so free to view material. We've always tried to put as much as into that category as we can. And there is now a change in the way that the usage of journals is being reported to universities and libraries and other institutions which pay subscriptions. And the important change is that articles, material that is in front of the paywall at the time of use will not be counted, will not be reported as usage to subscribing institutions. And so journals which have a large proportion of their material in front of the paywall because it's treated as free to view will appear to have experienced a dramatic drop in usage, and the concern is that that might lead to institutions deciding they're low value in terms of subscription. So I've talked with the council about how we might respond. The publisher has made suggestions about how we might mitigate that risk. We'll have to keep a close eye on it next year when this change in reporting is brought about. So overall, I think the journal's in good heart. You can see that from the report that Arkin sent around. I think we're in a steady state in terms of performance. We've got some exciting innovations underway, but the environment does contain a number of changes that might potentially challenge us over the next few years. Happy in due course to take questions.
Thank you very much, Alistair. I think we now have all the reports. Can someone propose that we adopt these reports for discussion? Okay, so yes, and seconded by Eduardo. So I think I would like to start with Salim. I think the floor is now open for you to bring on your comment or question. Thank you. Okay. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I'm Salim Adib. I'm currently serving as the president of the Lebanese Epidemiological Association, and I was previously the councilman for the MENA region. What's wrong with it?
You talk?
Very nice. Well, no, it was given to me so that I can use it. Okay. Suddenly, it's working. Okay. Closer to my mouth? Yeah. All right. So I have a few comments and questions. First, I'd like to ask about the issue of incomes from the World Council of Epidemiology. I remember that the last time that we talked about those conferences generating income for the association was when we hit the disaster of Alaska, and when actually we lost money into this. So what's going to happen? I mean, it used to be a good source of income, and maybe the treasurer or the council should look at this again. Akin, you've mentioned the issue of people appearing in the conference who have never been in contact with the association. I think this is a point that we have repeated in several occasions, and I do think and I do suggest strongly that when we accept papers for the conference, we should ask those who have been selected to check that they are actually members of the association. Because this is the conference of this association. And if they want to be part of this, I think that the least we can do is to ask them to also acknowledge that they should be members of the association. This is a suggestion that I strongly believe in. We have had some problems transmitting the finances of Iran to the association. Okay, Iran is practically half of the membership of the MENA region. I mean, our Iranian colleagues amount to practically all the Arab-speaking nations. It's that important. And because they cannot channel money in or out of Iran, it has created a situation where our membership is really falling. They used to send money to Lebanon, and we would send them back to Baltimore. But our banking system was broken down in 2019, 2020, and now it's creating a real situation. I'd like to suggest that we open up some sort of account in Europe where there is no US embargo on Iran, or any such third party that would be immune to U.S. decisions, and that would help probably in channeling back the participation of our Iranian colleagues. I think we should have some form of accreditation for the national associations that takes in account the capacity of members in different parts of the world to actually pay a membership for their association and also for IEA. It's very likely that in the more, I'm going to say richer parts of the world, participants can actually pay those two memberships. But in some parts of the world, it's the only way of financing our local associations. And then if we want to add on top of it the participation in IEA, it can become a bit heavy. But that's something that will have to be discussed probably case by case. My final point is that the WHO has accredited IEA as a participant, a member, but all the regional meetings are not being advertised to the regional councillors. So maybe the Europeans and North America are actually calling up on IEA, but I can tell you for sure, and Mary will certify it, that the regional meetings for the MENA region in Cairo, we practically have never been invited at least since Madame Beral, yeah, once. So somehow it has to be a central decision to remind WHO that within the regional divisions of WHO, we should also be invited rather than forcing ourselves onto the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Enrique, do you want me to? Okay, we'll take both your comments. Okay. Please go on, Enrique.
Thank you, Akin. Just a small comment regarding what's going to be the future of the nominating committee and one central attention that we need to in the future. It's very difficult, it's becoming very difficult to find people that want to serve the leadership, the council, the executive board, and so on. So, often we cannot make what is written in our handbook and in our constitution is to find at least 2 persons. If you cannot find 2 persons for each place, let's say, it's even more difficult to guarantee a gender balance, career balance, and so on. So, if you allow me, just before going away, it's to ask you please to put as possible to put much effort, as much as possible effort in at the regional level in each of our regions to find people both to represent the regions with this diversity from different countries, from different, of course, the largest associations. In the end, they are more present. It's just even for random reasons, if there were not any other. But I think that's very important because otherwise we'll not be able to keep with what was a movement that came after, especially after Caesar, and we tried to continue it. That is to bring in the early career people to have a more active role in the association.
We'll take 2 more comments and then we'll respond, so that we don't forget the comments and the questions that we have to respond to. Any other person? Oh, okay, Chandrakant.
Thank you. I think the membership number is a key discussion point, and I do understand that strength of any organization is the members they have, both in terms of absolute numbers and in terms of who are those individuals. So I would like to reflect or propose a few points about the membership. One, I think we have lost like nearly 1/3 of the members, so we should encourage each and every member of IEA to bring more members. And how that can be done, one approach could be that every year we should keep something like a membership month, maybe 2 months dedicated to increase the membership. That will help, that it will be a good reminder for the people to say that, okay, in this month the focus of IEA's work, amongst other things, is to get more membership. And this is a message for everyone. So I would like to propose a membership month, which essentially need not to be a 1 month. It could be 2 months and to a certain period of time. That's the one point. Second suggestion is that during the membership month, and we also know that the membership subscription is not the core source of funding for IEA. So what we should do, like we can make membership month successful if we say that, especially for life membership during that period, if they are given some additional discount over already low amount, but as I said, that membership money is not the key source of funding, so we should give a discounted membership month. Third point is that I think lot many people submit article for IJE, International Journal of Epidemiology, but the number of those authors is very high. We need to explore how we can utilize that platform. This is a journal of IEA, and if so many people are submitting articles, publishing there, how can we utilize that platform to convert into membership? And that is the kind of membership we need. We need every possible volunteer who is coming to join IEA, but definitely academic and other individual will join, will bring value. And fourth and important point is that Dr. Salim highlighted that part, that people are, whose abstracts are accepted, they should be encouraged to join membership. But what I missed, and this is, I'm really seriously reflecting, that even here in the World Congress or Epidemiology, there was no counter or stall for IEA. Like even if people who are motivated, who have come here and they want to join membership, they still have to follow the same platform. So we should, and that's, I would like to propose that in any future Congress, IEA should have a stall amongst the exhibition area where there would be one volunteer. So when someone walks in, we provide information, they pay fee and then you become member. So like it's the era of online transaction, but it is also like some nudge and motivation to the people. So IEA, I would like to propose, need to have a stall in every future Congress where the membership drive, like you come, you are motivated, you, like there are some volunteers who are bringing people to that stall and there are others who are getting subscriptions. So we need to do a lot, many things. And I think membership is one of the absolute essential activity of IEA we should do. Like our aim should be that by end of, by the next Congress, we should have at least 2,500 members, if not more.
May I just add a comment? I think that I like the idea of, I was making a joke here about like the sale, the membership sale. But if we look, many Congress they offer like early rates. They advertise to us to take the advantage of register early because of the discount. So I think that, of course, in a certain short period, and we examining, assessing very well, we could offer something. About the abstract that Salim mentioned, I definitely agree. Like most of the Congress, when we are submitting abstracts, to submit the abstract, not to after acceptance, to submit the abstract, at least one author needs to be a member of the society. Then you encourage people. Otherwise, it's not to restrict the abstracts only to those that are members of the society. But if you requires at least one for the submission, and remember that we don't charge for submitting abstract, because many societies right now, they charge you for submitting abstract because you need to put the people for review, etc. So I think that no charge, but at least requiring that one author, the presenting author, is a member of the site. And actually, because this is a good thing, because many of the presenters are many times students, early career, and then for them, with the joint membership, it's much cheaper to become a member. So I think that we could put this in in voting and think if everybody agrees, I think it's a good mechanism to increase membership.
Yeah, I would like to put a counterpoint to that. I think that we could be disadvantaging IEA by saying only financial members are allowed to submit an abstract to the World Congress, because
One person, one author. If you have like 5 authors, one author needs to be a member.
I think it could still, I mean, this is a major source of revenue. The Congress brings in a lot of money. I would think it would be better to get people into the fold, bring them in, and then, you know, when the abstract is accepted, highlight to them that it's cheaper to become a member and pay the member registration for the Congress. I just think if you cut them off at the abstract submission point, then I know a lot of people submit abstracts with only a half-hearted idea of whether they'll actually attend the meeting or not, and whether they attend depends on whether they actually have their abstract accepted. Particularly if you're travelling a really long way and it's an expensive trip, you're not going to go if perhaps you don't get your abstract accepted. So I think that that could be counterproductive.
Okay, so, okay, just a
comment. But Bridget, on the other hand, because we offer the reduced rates for the registration, if you become a member when you have to submit your abstracts, when your abstract is accepted, you will come to the meeting on a reduced actually cost.
I argue that we should point that out to them after the abstract's accepted, because a lot of people won't want to pay the membership in case their abstract's accepted, particularly people for whom, you know, this is a serious financial commitment. So let's make it easy for people to join. Let's not put any hurdles in the way for them.
Okay, Bridget, you made a very good point. I will address it, but let's have the two, the gentleman at the back, and then the early career epidemiologist, and then we'll respond to that.
This is follow-up to the Dr. Laharia's suggestion on stall. So I am from India. I am the incoming Southeast Asia representative. So from India, like I got 3 people who are not members, and one of them is eligible for full life membership, and 2 of them are eligible for ECE memberships, and they are ready to take. And the site is, I mean, only one person was able to take the membership. Other 2, the site has crashed. Like we tried 10 times, one with my phone, twice with their phones, and it was crashed. Like they were not able to become members. Only one person became member out of the 3. I mean, this is what happened yesterday and day before yesterday. So I just want to bring that point also. Maybe the site, it has to be improved a bit. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I'm blanking out on your name. I'm really very sorry.
Actually, to add up on that, so the site is still breaking. We just tried right now to have people register. That's one. 2, I wanted to also ask a bit of questions of how are we involving early career epidemiologists in the peer review for the IGE? Being an early career epidemiologist, just outgoing, I'm not very familiar with the system, so I'd like a bit more details on that, and which early career epidemiologists were joined, how were they chosen, and what was that system established? How was that system established? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Alista would respond to that, but I can assure you that these are conversations that we've had at the council level, and they're really, you know, engaged about that because we are passionate about mentorship. We are passionate about, you know, bringing early career epidemiologists up in the business of the IJE. We're passionate about sustainability and having a succession plan also, you know, where we can replace, you know, those who are experienced as we move on to ensure that we have credibility of the IJE. It's going to address that because these are conversations that we've been having, and your points are really, really spot on. But let me just address some of the issues that you have talked about regarding membership. Has to do with management of the way that we register, management of having a modern approach to membership, making it easier for wherever you are in the world to be able to join the IEA. And these are conversations that we have had at the council level. We understand that you're having difficulties presently, and we're looking into how to evolve like a mechanism that makes it so easy for you, because we join other associations and we know how these things are. One of the ways by which we're going to look at it is to sit down with the management company that manages the IEA and talk about some of these issues. The late president, Chandra, because he introduced a lot of digitalization to India, was very passionate about this. And at every meeting, he always brought it up that we need to evolve into a system where it's easy for membership, where we can do digitalization, we can digitalize the operations of the IEA and so forth and so on. I'm sure that the incoming executives are going to take this on and make sure that we have that. And I want to thank Salim very well. I know all your efforts in the past, and I know you are still not tired for the MENA region. The WHO we've engaged with WHO at the international, at the headquarters level, and we are assigned an officer who had actually sent an official letter around to all the regions to say that they must engage with our regional, representatives. Southeast Asia has taken advantage of that. They are attending meetings. West Pacific has taken advantage. They are attending meetings. I just sent an invitation from the WHO European region to Raquel, the incoming, regional representative for Europe. So we work on that for MENA. We work on that for Africa, who is just coming in, and other places. Maybe they've not seen that letter, so we send a reminder. But WHO is very passionate. We sign a plan of action, and right now we have indicators that we would be collecting on an annual basis at the regional level, which feeds into the report that we'll give to WHO of how we have been able to execute our work plan, which we collectively signed together. I can assure you of that one. Joint membership is ongoing, and many national bodies have taken advantage of this. For example, I think Public Epidemiology Foundation of India, took advantage of that also. And many national bodies in Africa also have taken advantage of that. So we'd like to encourage, because we need to grow epidemiology, from the regions. So regional councillors would have to do a lot of work. At the council meeting, we encourage them to go beyond the countries in which they are stationed and look at countries where we have, not enough members to make this happen. The WCE, now we've taken a decision, starting from this present WCE, part of the contract that we signed is that a percentage of the profits will come to the IEA. And that will be part of every World Congress. That was not so before, as you know. But beginning from this particular World Congress, a percentage of whatever profit would come to the IEA. For the abstract, we have to be a bit careful. They must be in. I agree that it's important they must be in, but there is a lot of wisdom in what Karina has also proposed. So we must find a way to balance it. Keep them in, don't keep them out, but at the same time, make sure that they have incentives to join the association. I think that would be the way to go. But what we have had in the past that we have argued with is the fact that IEA gives scholarships for non-members. They become members for that WCE. They take advantage of the discount that is available for members of the IEA, and they are lost to the IEA after the World Congress. So that's money down the drain, with nothing tangible coming back to the IEA. So those are issues that we need to think deeply about. I don't have an answer right now, but if you have a concrete suggestion on the way to move forward on this, I think the council will be ready to look at it and argue the pros and cons and get back to us before we take a final decision on that. Okay. I don't know whether any other person wants to weigh in on that. Eduardo? Okay, great.
It's just a motion of order here. I'm looking at the agenda.
Yeah.
We have just finished item 7 and we're having a very important discussion. But I submit to you that many of these points, and be able to look at them in depth, we need to do additional work that will require perhaps deferring that for a council meeting, which is coming up in a couple of days, because we do have some very important items and
Yeah.
it's already 8:10.
Absolutely, I agree about that. So what will happen is that if you have any comments on these, we can't take a decision on all these issues. We'll move it to the council meeting, and then we'll come back to you with whatever decision. You still have to take a vote, on moving forward. That's the way the IEA works, and we'll send to members about this. Okay, so any other issue? Oh, Alistair. After Alistair, then we move on.
Just a quick response to the question about ECEs and reviewing. We encourage routinely, when we send out invitations for review to experienced reviewers, that they work in conjunction with a less experienced colleague, so there's an opportunity for mentoring and training, and many do that, which I think is a good thing. There's also we have a reviewer database, and if you're interested, as many people are, we suggest you contact us with your details, and we'll put you into the reviewer database, so that when people are looking for reviewers, your name may come up depending on interests. And also, I did meet today with the ECEs at lunchtime, and we had a good discussion about this very point. So I think hopefully those strategies will provide opportunity.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we'll skip the next item. It's already within the report. And Enrique, I can't see Enrique right now. The report of the nominating committee is actually a reflection of the elections, which you see in the PDF that we sent about the incoming council. So you've seen that. I will crave your indulgence that we move on to presentation of a host for WCE 2027. They've been waiting online. Please, do we have Beatrice online? Can you upload for us, please?
Hey, yes. Hello, how are you?
Okay, great. Please, you have just 7 minutes to make your presentation. Beatrice is from the University of Antigua in Colombia.
Antioquia.
So please go on, Beatrice.
Okay, so how many minutes do we have, Akin?
Just 7 minutes.
Oh, wow, that's quite short. Okay, so okay, it's a real pleasure for us to share with you all the information about the proposed theme and all the about the hosted city for the 2027 Congress. We are here with all the Colombian team that have been working on the bid. So let me please share my screen. So could you please let me know if you are already seeing the slides?
Yes, we can see. Please go on.
Okay. So the host destination for the 2027 Congress will be in Medellin, Colombia. And Medellin is located in the northwest corner of South America. Is located in the Medellin is located in the department of Antioquia, in the middle of the central mountain ranges in the Aburra Valley. Medellin is really the capital of the department of Antioquia, the second most economically developed city in Colombia, and the second most populated city in the country after Bogota, DC. Some facts about Medellin is that Medellin is considered to be the commercial, industrial, and technological development epicenter of the country. Thanks to its elevation and geographical location, the city has a spring-like climate all year long. It's also Medellin, the second best connected city in Colombia after Bogota. We have around 41 universities and 300 hotels. Medellin is on the sustainable, innovative, and resilient map. Medellin is the only Colombian city with an innovation hub. We also are home to the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in Latin America. We have an integrated transport system that includes metro cable, trolleys, cars, buses, and public bus. Also, Medellin has green corridors that were created to respond to climate change. Medellin is also named as a science, technology, and innovation district that integrates people, universities, businesses, and the state to prioritize challenges and promote sustainable and balanced growth with people at the center. During the past century, Medellin was recognized as Colombia's industrial capital. However, throughout the 1980s and 1990s, the violence caused by drug trafficking severely hit Medellin, the entire country really, but Medellin was the city more severely affected. However, in 1991, it was one of the most violent cities in the world, with a record of approximately 7,000 violent deaths that year. However, as you can see on the figure, today Medellin is known as one of the most resilient cities in the world, as a city that went from fear to hope. Even though in the 1980s and 1990s, it was one of the most violent cities, today Medellin is recognized for its social transformation and innovation. That can be seen in this figure. Medellin current homicide rates have similar or even lower levels when compared to other very important places. For this reason, Medellin has emerged as an essential icon because it reduced homicide rates by an impressive 90%. This remarkable achievement is a testament to the city's commitment to overcoming violence through a multifaceted approach and becoming a Rockefeller resilient city. This is really by analyzing the root causes of violence and applying evidence-based intervention, the city has curbed crime and fostered a safer, more inclusive environment for all of its residents. This is an inspiring transformation that could be an interesting case study, offering valuable lessons for similar challenges globally. Internationalization has been part of the city transformation. Colombia's economic opening process led cities such as Medellin to open its doors and become known as international markets by attracting major events that put into the eyes of the world and foster social and economic development. Medellin has been hosted major events, such as, for example, in 2014, the World Urban Forum, which attracted around 2,000 attendees from different, around 142 countries. Other very important events that have been happening in Medellin was the World Economic Forum in Latin America with 800 of attendees. Also, another one was the International Conference on Learning Cities by the UNESCO. The OAS General Assembly was also held in Medellin in 2019. And now we are just preparing for November the World Data Forum. So really Medellin has an outstanding experience of hosting this kind of important event. The city as well has received some international recognitions that highlights its social transformation and innovation. Some of them are in 2013, Medellin was declared as the world's most innovative city. In 2014, the best city to live in Latin America. In 2019, it was named Center of the Fourth Industrial Revolution for Latin America. In 2017, for instance, it was selected as one of the best 10 cities in Latin America for businesses. And that's why we believe that the 2027 World Epidemiologic Congress is going to be a huge success in our city. Because of the time, I'm not going to show this video, but I will be very happy to pass it through Akin in order to you have a look on more closely about the variety of experiences that you can have in Medellin. That's why in this moment, we want to invite you to be part of the experience by attending the 2027 World Congress of Epidemiology. And I'm going to pass over to my colleague Alexandra, who is going to explain to you what is the proposed scientific program and theme for the next Congress.
Thank you, Beatrice. You have 3 minutes to round off so that you can have 1 or 2 questions that you need to respond to. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, then I will go quickly for our proposal program. We want to have in the 2027 World Congress of Epi, we have a preliminary title that is Epidemiology in the Artificial Intelligence Revolution, Navigating Climate Change, Mental Health, and Conflict. We have 4 main topics. First one is climate change and global health. We want to address, because we think that climate change will continue an important problem for public health because it's affecting every area of the human life. And we want to address like interventions that mitigate climate change consequence, as well as epidemiological designs and research that measure the consequences. The second topic is conflict and immigration. We know our state has wars, conflict, and violence in every corner of the world. Then we want to try to measure the consequence of this violence and conflict and how it's affecting the internal and external migration around the world. The third topic is the mental health. We know that we relegate mental health for many decades, and now mental health is become a very important issue after COVID. And we think that this combination of conflict, climate change, it will increase more mental health problems. And finally, we want to talk about artificial intelligence and big data and see how these innovations can apply to epidemiological research, but also we want to see this very critically, not only just understand and read the artificial intelligence data, but also see the pitfalls, challenges, and difficulties to apply in everywhere, and the ethical considerations. We want to have a very broad team. In the international committee, we want to include people from the International Epidemiology Association counselors, as well as we want to include people from like people that are being very active and experts like Cesar Vitora, Neil Pierce, Enrique Barrios, Ezra Soser, that can increase and create more richer proposal, and also have people in different regions to see different needs and foster a sense of inclusivity in our Congress. And just to finalize, I want to show you that we have a committee that is hosted by University of Antioquia, Colombia, the epidemiological group. We have also people from the Colombian Epidemiology Association that is here, also Laura Rodriguez, and our colleagues, Carlos Rojas, Isabel, Eliana, and we have our dean here that is supporting the Congress, and we are very happy to host this event. And then finally, if you can move forward, Beatriz, we want to thank you to the Society of Epidemiology to help us to organize this presentation and the bid, and the Bureau of Medellin that help us also to organize this presentation. And welcome to Medellin. And we are happy to host this event, and we want to that this experience is not only academic, but also cultural, inclusive, and you can enjoy.
Okay, thank you very much, Beatrice and our team from the University of Antigua, Colombia. Do we have any quick question? Okay, we'll just take one or two questions because of our time. Yes, Salim.
What do we take? Trains, buses, planes, whatever it is. Did you hear me? I just got the microphone. I was asking about transportation from Bogota to Medellin. Thank you.
Okay, I think that will be the only question. So Beatrice, please go on and answer the question. I hope you got the question. That will be coming through Bogota.
I got it. I can answer. Is like, okay, you go from Bogota to Medellin from usually for airplane. You can go by bus, but it's super long. But it's other way to come to Medellin. Easy is for Panama, and it's cheaper also. It's other way to come, like and you can go. And there is a lot of routes to come to Medellin, only through Bogota.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Salim says he's satisfied about that. So thank you, and then enjoy what is left of the day. We will continue with the conversation with you. I think that's all we have for you for today. Thanks so much for joining and making the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to you all, Akin.
Okay.
It's important to know how
Sir?
many planes would leave every day from Bogota to Medellin. Because as we arrive, all of us, 600
Okay.
people, maybe the entire airlines that are deserving Medellin would be overbooked.
Okay. I think it's in a PDF that is sent, but can you quickly just address that? I know it's in a PDF you sent to the council, but can you quickly address that? How many planes go from? Okay. He said 4. Okay. 4. Okay. Okay. So 4 per day. Okay. Thank you. From Bogota. Yes.
She said that. There's a direct flight from Miami.
Yeah. I think it's also in the PDF that was sent. We will circulate the PDF. It shows the different flights to Medellin from different parts of the world.
The venue, she didn't talk about the venue.
Okay, I think because of our time, we would need to let them go, and then we send the PDF to everybody about. We at the executive committee level and the council level, we've looked at they've made a presentation, we've looked at the PDF, and the PDF is quite informative. It has all this information that you are requiring. So we will send it we'll ask the management company that IEA uses to please circulate this to every member so that you can see all the information that is contained therein. Okay. Would that be okay with us?
Yeah, there is a site visit as well, right?
Yes. And then, as you know, before the World Congress, we would have to do a site visit and tick all the boxes that IEA usually uses to give a final nod. Okay? Is that okay with all of us? Okay, great. So thank you very much, Beatrice and your team. We'll get back to you. Okay, bye for now.
Bye.
Can we come up with the agenda, please? IT? Oh, okay, great. So we need to conclude very quickly. I don't know, Karina, is there any other thing we want to say about the oaths for WCE 2027? No, okay. So we'll get back to you on all the other information, and the Executive Council would also make a site visit and send you information about the site visit that will be made. The next thing very quickly is to talk about the vision for the 2024 to 27 term of office. Please, can we have it, please? Okay, it's here. Yeah. So because of our time, and we'll go into details about this, but we've discussed this also at the council level, about the need for us to rebrand the IEA while maintaining the good the good name of the IEA, the credibility that the IEA has, and the standard that IEA has been known for. But we want IEA to be relevant to at the global at the regional as well as the national level to speak to the needs of members and to include many specialties that are branching out. For example, at this particular conference, you see that field epidemiology was talked about a lot. And if you remember the welcome address by Landon, actually made mention of the silos that usually exist between, academic, epi, and then the application part of it. And Miguel Porter also talked about this in the definition of epidemiology in the Dictionary of Epidemiology for those of us that attended that session. So we think that it's important for us to be more inclusive and bring together all the different, subsections that have branched out: environmental epidemiology, field epidemiology, cardiovascular epidemiology, and so on and so forth like that, so that they see the IEA as an umbrella body for all epidemiologies to play. Some of the problems that we have also had with membership is the issue of bringing on board modern management practices. And so, in order for us to be able to rebrand, we need to embrace modern management practices. We need to be able to provide a unique user experience for our members when they register and when they use our website for registration. And that, we think if we do that, we can rebrand the IEA, and then we can then reposition the IEA to be responsive to current global challenges. We can't stay akimbo. I also remember during the Ebola crisis, the IEA in Alaska, the IEA had to adopt the statement of the World Federation of Public Health Association, rather than IEA have its own, statement. AI is there, data science. Some of the sessions at this World Congress talked about data science. What is enough? When is the data that has been collected not for the purpose for which it was meant for, is now being used? To what extent can it answer some epidemiological questions? And at what point do we say that there's limitations? So we think that IEA should be responsive to talk about this, of what uses are this very important. What is the ethical responsibility for the use of the AI in epidemiology, and how do we use this to address some of the global challenges that we face, like climatic issues and so on and so forth. We also think that IEA should have a voice at key EP-related events. For about 6 years now, IEA has not attended any World Health Assembly, even though we are being invited on several occasions. We need to begin to budget for this and make sure that IEA has a voice at many of the EP-related events, either globally or regionally. And that's why the WHO meetings at the regional levels that Salim had talked about are also very, very important. In repositioning the IEA also, we think that deeper engagement with members will be very, very important in terms of letting members have a voice. And that starts with our strategic plan, in which members will send surveys to members about their expectations of the IEA and what they think, the way they think IEA should be moving forward in the next 3 years. IEA's unique selling proposition, at least where our strength lies in the use of methods and applications. And we think that IEA should return back to the old days where we used to have method improvement workshops spread all over the regions. For example, things like bias, for example, things like, how do we make panel improvements in the use of certain methods, and so on and so forth. We think that we need to refocus and bring back those times when almost every EP student looks forward to IEA workshops. And they're always wanting to register with IEA just because they would like to attend IEA workshops. So, and we think that that should happen in every region, and not only centrally. And that should be very, very important. The silo between academic EPI and field practice, we think that should also close. We need to be speaking to those who use the methods. Traditionally, if you look at the mission of the IEA, it talks about those who teach and research in epidemiology. And a lot of the members are talking about, what about those who apply, epidemiology, and we need to begin to talk about this in refocusing. Lastly, we collect information about which specialty each member belongs to. But that is information that is lost in our database. We don't use it for anything. We believe that the purpose for which that information is collected is so that we have a roster of experts. So we have different specialty units, and we can begin to look at clusters of, working clusters where we can look at issues in cardiovascular epidemiology. They can look at issues in cancer epidemiology. And when there are issues to talk about, and when technical assistance is required, either at the global level, national, regional level, we can actually track back to these clusters of experts to say what should be the position of IEA, how do we provide assistance. The WHO also contacts IEA on specific issues. For example, the Global Outbreak Alert and Response Network. WHO always sends requests to the IEA for experts to support countries. And we can tap into this roster of experts to see, which, for what we now know as such capacity, either at country level or at regional levels. So, ladies and gentlemen, we think that if we focus on these three major strategic directions, we should be able to move the IEA forward. And we're looking forward to engaging all of us so that you have a voice in how IEA is managed and the progress that IEA wants to make in the next 3 years. Okay, so I think that will be all. If you have specific suggestions, please send to us. We would share with you email addresses that you can send to. And once we have a council meeting over the weekend, we'll look at how to operationalize all these strategic positions that we've talked about. Regarding the strategic plan, which is the last item on our list, regarding the strategic plan, we would be contacting every member of the IEA with a survey. And that survey would include things about what your expectations are of the IEA, how you want IEA to move forward. What is IEA doing that you like best? What are the things that IEA that you don't like? And we hope that if we are able to do all this, we can bring it together and move forward with the planning for the next 10 years for IEA. Okay. So please be expecting to get an email from IEA regarding all these. With that, I would like to call on the incoming secretary to address the last item that we have on the agenda, which is to express our appreciation to the organizers of the World Congress of Epidemiology 2024. Thank you.
Yes, a very quick thank you on behalf of IEA. I wish to say thank you to our scientific committee, our local organizing committee, and all the participants from around the world for truly making this World Congress memorable. All the expertise and the knowledge shared has been incredible. It has truly been an honor to be part of such an insightful World Congress and accomplished gathering. And just to say thank you for everyone who attended and your contributions. Looking forward to 2027. And just, again, this has been a memorable success, and it's all because of you and your commitment. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Please do have a restful night. Okay.